All right. What's up, everybody? My name is Chris Carr. I'm your host. I'm here with Black Land Ownership, as you see. And today we have a wonderful special guest. We have been talking to architects, designers, folks that work in engineering, and we want to talk about land. We want to talk about resources. We want to talk about sustainability. And today we have a special guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Moses West. I'm the owner of AWG Contracting and the Moses West Foundation.
Okay, can you let people know what it is you do with your contracting firm and then what the foundation does?
Okay, well, with my contracting company, what I do is I take orders from the United States military or the federal government, and I build water generators for them to use. I have generators in operation with the United States Marine Corps and the United States Army in different agencies.
Wow.
And yeah.
And then with the foundation.
Oh, the foundation, what I was doing with that was with the equipment that I have, that I had in testing and developing the technology. I use the foundation to get that surplus equipment or build new equipment and take it on missions to deploy to show people how it worked, and also to use the technology to help people, to save lives. And that's what my mission was. I've always said, is to save a life.
And sorry, go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so we've deployed to in Hurricane Maria. We deployed to Vieques, Puerto Rico, and we ran a big 5,000 liter unit on solar power using a Tesla battery and solar array. That's net zero, first time it's ever been done. And we deployed one to Flint, Michigan. We supplied the 4th ward, the neighborhood, with all the drinking water they needed.
Okay, so I don't think people understand the magnitude and the scope of what you're talking about here. Like I've looked you up, I read up on you a bit before doing this interview, but can you give folks a little bit about your background and then how that led you to the water and the systems that you've actually developed and deployed?
Sure. Well, I'm a retired Army officer. I was I was commissioned to the United States Infantry. I went to Ranger School. I'm a pilot. I'm a combat pilot. I fly AH-1 Cobras, OH-58s, CH-47s. I'm a commercial pilot, and I'm a test pilot in 2 aircraft. I spent 3 years in kind of special operations with the United States military. I was in the 2nd Armored Division, 4th and 7th Cav, 101st Airborne Division, 180th Aviation Company, 2nd Infantry Division. I did a lot in a very short time frame. And so I learned the skills of absolute death and destruction in the United States military, but all the time before that, I was a hippie. I was just this natural kind of person. I love the outdoors, and the military was a way to advance my economic life here in the United States. But I learned quite a bit. I learned how to be very determined and driven, how to function when I think I can't go anymore, and that's what Rangers do. When you think you got nothing left, if you can roll your eyeballs, you can still walk. And so I transferred that over into absolute destruction. I turned that over into absolute empathy for other people. If I can be on one end of the spectrum, I can take that energy and focus on the other side. And there's a currency there of giving that is very valuable to me. So with this technology, I fully understand that we're in climate change right now. We're in it. We've passed that starting point. And so right now, the currency of the future is water and food. Water and food. And these 2 things are very easy to come by. When we were 100 years ago, when your grandparents, 200 years ago, 150 years ago, your great-grandparents, they grew all the food they needed around their house. Right. But they had fresh water in the ground, they had good dirt and sunlight. And so what I've done is I've taken technology that's been made over the past several hundred years using solar power, water's in the atmosphere, and hydroponics. You could do the same thing you did 100 years ago, but using technology today to do it. Like before, what do we have? We had we had Morse code.
Right.
Morse code. Now we got a cell phone. Okay. So before we had a plow, now we have a tractor. There you go. So before we had a well, and then we had drills where we drilled down to get water. But we have three sources of water: a liquid, a solid, and a gas. All the water you ever need is in the atmosphere. And I've proven it time and time again. Me by myself, I've made over 1 million. I stopped counting 5 years ago at 1 million gallons. That was 5 years ago.
Well, can you explain to folks the system? So like you're somehow pulling the evaporated water out of that atmosphere and being able to collect it?
Oh, this is easy. How many people you know drink beer? You sit out in the summertime, you got beer on a table, beer bottles sitting on the table, everybody's sitting around, the band's playing. Some people have Long Island iced tea and all that ice in that glass.
Yeah.
Margaritas. You look at a margarita in the summertime down in New Orleans, what's the glass doing? It is just sweating. That beer bottle is sweating. But you look at the buildings. When you come into a building, the air conditioner's on. What's happening? The windows are just sweating water. Well, that's moisture that's in the atmosphere. And the glass or the ice cubes in the glass have reached a temperature close to the dew point where it pulls moisture out of the air. So basically, just think of my machine as 1 million beer bottles inside of it, all sweating moisture.
Wow.
And maintaining that mechanically over a surface area. It's more complicated than that, but you get a surface area to the right temperature, you pull air over it. You filter the air before it comes in, you pull it over that surface area. When it hits that surface area, it just starts to rain.
Wow.
And you're pulling the air through. And the larger the surface area, the more water I can make.
And are you an engineer, or how did this just come to you?
Oh, this is really country boy stuff. This is what we do. Now, this is the foundation of who we are as a people. I mean, this is it. We think of things of how to advance the humankind. We've always done it. You know, people a lot of times don't give us credit for what we do, but we do quite a few things. And this is just a thought process that I have individually to save us in the future. Because what I'm doing right now, this is like I'm working right now probably with a World War II fighter with a P-51 Mustang. But the kids who are watching this today, they're going to take my P-51 Mustang and they're going to turn that thing into an F-14 Tomcat. So they're going to take what I'm doing right now, all the kids who are in STEM and school and learning about sustainability, and when they get their little hands on this and start tinkering with it, they're going to take it to the next level. So my job on the planet today is to just let you know that you're not going to run out of water because there's all the water we need. Let the children learn how to do this. And when they get older, when they get to my age, when I'm long gone, these children will be able to make a future for themselves. Because everything that we have done today, we've taken away people's futures. We've robbed our planet. We've contaminated our planet. So people of my group, my age group, we should be thinking of things to give to those coming up, the building blocks for sustainability in the future, because that's the direction we have to go, or we will not survive as a species.
Wow. I mean, why isn't your technology being implemented everywhere? I mean, if this is available and if it's known, and is there a scalability issue? Are people not aware of it? What's, you know?
What I've done is when you go and you look at this, the last military units I built, you can see them on my Facebook page. You can see them on Instagram. You can see them out there. You can see them on LinkedIn. These military units. That is as small as I can go. What I've designed into this equipment, I mean, this equipment wants to be the size of a stadium. I'm outside of the box. So the only thing that limits this technology and us having it right now and today is the greed of individuals. You cannot get past the greed factor. As soon as you let people know that you can make water out of the air cheaper than you can pull it out of the ground, the first thing that they do is it's almost like if you got like a little I can't use that analogy. It's like an animal that wants to eat too much. Even though he's full, wants to eat more. And that's how our society is today. You can have the best idea in the world. The first thing people want to do is they want to try to steal it from you. So I have the best lawyers that I could ever hope to have in the world to protect myself, and some of the greatest engineers that I could ever work with. But the thing that I have to do is I have to protect this technology so that it just doesn't go somewhere and just die.
Right.
And so I'm always advocating for it. And we see it in business every day. And to go out and do this type of work that I do, those machines are heavy. And I drive my trucks, I drive my forklifts, and the guy sitting up there in the penny loafers in the suit, he may like the idea, he may want to steal it, but he can't go out there and drive a forklift.
Right.
He doesn't even know what a socket wrench is. This is work. This is real work with your hands.
Right. I mean, in the sense of businesses possibly stifling work like this, what does it encroach upon? You keep in mind, I went to school for history. I'm a sociologist. I studied medieval history. I then made art for 10 or 15 years. And so in stepping into Black land ownership, I'm learning so much about engineering, architecture, land rights, water rights, mineral rights, things that I've never had any attachment to. And so I don't even understand some of the business practices in the fields that are contiguous or that kind of work together. So when I hear you have this water system, I'm just thinking benefit to humanity. I don't see what that threatens. Who loses by you introducing this product?
You're tied right now, you're tied to a grid. You have to pay an electric bill every month.
Right.
You're tied to a water main, you have to do that. You have to pay the water bill every month.
Okay.
You're tied to a grocery store that you have to go and you have to shop for groceries. All of these things now, a community can do within the community. There's enough sunshine. Just take my line from Austin, Texas, going down south to the border, and draw a latitude line across the United States from California all the way over to Virginia, that middle part of the country. Everything south of that sun is just blazing. The humidity's hot. You got the Gulf of Mexico. It's a big water generator. You've got the Atlantic Ocean. You've got the Pacific Ocean. And all that water generated and all that sunlight generated, that's enough to take a whole town, a whole city completely off the grid. If you go off grid, that is a revolutionary idea. Revolutionary. You know, you're changing the status quo. That's not good. That shortens a person's life expectancy. Right. To change the status quo. So what we have here is we have a whole train of thought, a global train of thought right now to move away from fossil fuel, because we have to start cleaning this planet up. You've got 9 years. 9 years. I already say that tipping point, we've passed that tipping point. We need to go sustainable. And so this is why this is stifled. People can't trip over themselves fast enough to either take it over completely or stifle it.
Now, in terms of when we're looking at environmental preservation, sustainability, and what's possible for the future, there are some folks around who feel like it's too late. Humans have ruined the planet. But we saw with the pandemic, in just 2 months of inactivity, nature started returning in areas where it hadn't been seen. You started noticing smog clear out, started noticing waterways in Venice clear up. So do you believe that with enough directed action, humans can at least partially correct some of the damage that's been done, or at least stop how quickly things are declining?
Most definitely. Most definitely. We have gone through a phase of deforesting all of the world's rainforest. That's cutting out the lungs of the planet. We've dumped plastic into the sea. We've contaminated the entire ocean. If you can go down to the bottom. It's called Challenger Deep. It's the Marianas Trench. You can find plastic at the bottom of the Marianas Trench. That is just it's just incredible. I lived in Australia for 11 years. Traveled all over the world. Lived in New Zealand for a bit. And what we've got now is we can correct this by going sustainable. This is one of those things where you say, during World War II, this is an analogy I like. During World War II, we were sitting here, our country was completely broke. Pearl Harbor was bombed. Unemployment rate was through the roof. We were just at the very ends of the Great Depression. There were millions of people out of work. The entire country mobilized the entire country, East Coast to West Coast, North to South. And we engineered up, we geared up, we turned factories around in months, from producing cars to producing trucks to producing weapons. We're in a war right now to save our lives. And we need to stop, and we need to retool, and we need to start working on this. And that's how we can do it. The heart of a person, the heart of an American to get the job done is still there. And this is one of the greatest fights of our lives right now. And we can turn this around. Don't let anyone tell you differently. But it's going to take heart. It's going to take determination. Everybody's going to have to become an ecological ranger. And we can get it done.
Now, I've been having some conversations with friends who are, let's say, under 30 years old. And they feel somewhat overwhelmed when they look at the prospects of the economic scenario in this country, the political aspects, and the kind of stratification between those with wealth, those without wealth, those who seem to be well-educated, those who aren't, and the divisiveness. And it's almost like urban versus rural, or northern versus southern, or black versus white, or whatever these binaries have been. And something I've been saying is, like, people have been fighting for a long time. We constantly are told that the negative is so strong, but we're not always reminded of the people who've been pushing, who've been fighting, who've been organizing, who have been engaged in their ideas of liberation. How do you view that? Like, do you think we can learn from the examples of the past and continue to organize? Do you think there are things the youth aren't aware of that could inspire them? Is there a gap of conversation between the people 60, 55, and the people that are 15 and 20?
There's a big gap. The only way to correct this situation and this lack of communication, there's only one thing, and that is education. There's a set education. There's certain realities that can't change. The kinematic equations on motion, you can't change that. The laws of relativity, you can't change physics. You can't. And so these are givens. You have air, you have water, you have earth. These are all givens. And what we need to do is we all have some certain needs. We all need food. We all need water. We all like our friends. We like our families. We like relationships. We like shelter. We like comfort. These are all common denominators that we all have in our lives. And there's an education about working together and pulling together to get a job done that can help eliminate the divisiveness. I actually saw this in the military. I would go to a unit, and I would be the only black soldier there, the only African American soldier there. And sure, you could feel that tension. But as soon as we were put into an environment where we had to work together, and everybody learned that, you know what, you can die just as quick as I can die if we don't work together. Well, I tell you what, you know what? People started saying, you know what? Everybody here is green. You know? So it's a thing of us working together and knowing your history, knowing where you've come from, knowing the limitations that have been put on us, and just trying to overcome some of these barriers that have been put up. I mean, at my age, some of the stuff that I've experienced in my life and still experience to this day, I think the new generation coming up, I think they can see what we've done wrong, and they're going to do things right. But the people I'm at the tail end of the baby boomers, so people like myself, the knowledge that I have got to share it with y'all.
Right.
And that's what I do freely. And other people need to do the same thing.
Right. Now, in terms of the water systems and during COVID and the pandemic, what can people do in order to help? I don't know if you're raising funds. I don't know if you're looking for partnerships. What can people do if they'd like to get involved or would like to be more active?
Well, right now I got to get as many machines as possible for my Moses West Foundation. I need donations. I need donations to build machines. It's late already. I told people 5 years ago, every town needs to have 5 of these machines. We have people down here right now that don't have drinking water. We have whole apartment complexes, whole counties, whole areas that you don't even hear anything about. There's no water and there's no food. And so that's what I need right now, as much as I can get in donations so I can start building these machines as fast as possible, because we still have hurricane season coming up. You're talking one machine can supply 500 people with drinking water. That sits in a neighborhood. And then another one sits downtown, and another one sits in this county. That's all we need to do right now. And then we start to build from there. So that's my immediate need. The need that I have for y'all is, you said that people in your age group, they're worried about the future, worried about how they're going to make money, how they're going to make an income, right?
Yeah.
You know, water's a commodity, right? They made it a commodity.
I remember in my early economics class, it was like, well, supply demand, water's everywhere. How do you profit from it? Well, when the water's all poisoned, you can sell clean water.
There you go. So here you go. When you have the capability to produce water off of sunlight and then grow hydroponic fruits and vegetables, the value of the hydroponic fruits and vegetables and the fresh water is a currency. So all the people who are looking for something to do for the future, you need to be a hydroponic gardener. You need to know about solar power, and you need to know how to make water. Those are your billionaires of the future. So you guys are young and bright. Hey, all you got to do is just get onto this, what I'm telling you. You're not running out of water, and you're not going to run out of power, and you're not going to run out of food. And you get it all directly from sunlight with this technology.
Wow. I mean, I work at a high school. I need to bring you in to speak to some of these young folks. Like, seriously, because one of the things we've been talking about is the human brain as an analogy-based problem-solving computational device. And education's not just about making money or passing tests or going to college, but it's to problem solve in the real world for your community, for your family, for your friends, and for fellow humanity. And to try to pick things that matter. I mean, it's cool to make apps and code, but not everyone's supposed to sit in front of a computer all day. It's cool to push for certain, I think, ideas around liberal studies and knowing history and philosophy, but some people want to use their hands. Some people want to be outside. And there's not much in our current system, especially in Brooklyn, that pushes for that. And so we've been trying to find programs and inventors and engineers and people who are doing non-traditional things, but that are actually kind of traditional and taking us back to what we have been doing, and cycling that information. And so I really appreciate what you're working on, and anything we can do to help. You know, I'd love to bring you in, speak to the young folks, and be able to continue to spread the word. Because I also think they get a kick out of your life experience. Like, I have a friend whose dad was in the Air Force, like back, 30 years ago. He was saying, like, he was the only black pilot. They brought in a second one. And for years, it was the two of them. They knew that. And then he, when he got out, got into business and went a totally different direction. But the mind state and the mentality, like the never give up mentality, is something I really appreciate you espousing. And I come from a separate world of like art. I was never in danger. Like not really, you know, it's like people at shows might fight, but I wasn't in danger. But the mentality of the artists I was around was always never give up, never let people crush your spirit, never let people stop you if you have a dream. And so it's great to hear you in a much different capacity express that emotion.
Yes, I'll tell you what, the worst thing that you could tell me is that you can't.
Right.
You can't do that. And I'm like, hold my beer. I don't drink, but I say, yeah, watch me. So yeah, but you can do, everybody says now you can't do what you want to do. You can't do anything anymore. They say we're limited. You know, you're not. What you have to do is you have to persevere. There's a couple of words that don't exist. It's like, I can't. I can't. It's not in my lexicon.
Right.
I can't. There's no such thing as a problem. There's only opportunities. There's no problem. It's only an opportunity to exceed and excel. We've gotten to a place now where we've put too much emphasis on the entertainment of our lives. We've gone to the Coliseum, to say, and we have to come out of the Coliseum, because if you're on a ship, when you're on a ship, on a cruise ship, and you're sailing and everybody's just going and eating dinner, and that cruise ship hits an iceberg, everybody on that cruise ship is now a member of the crew. Right. So right now, our ship in the United States, we have hit an iceberg. We're all now part of the crew to correct the ship. That's how you have to look at it. You have to find a way to make everybody realize that what you do is going to affect me. And right. You and me together, we're a team. And as a team, let's go get our hands dirty. We got to step outside of the comfort zone of the home, and we've got to go out. And this is now where your economic development is. It's in saving your life. It's in making sure you have clean water, food, and energy. And don't let anybody else control that on you. Because when they control that on you, they control you.
Right, right. I mean, that's amazing. You give me something to remember Friday when we speak to the students. Solar power, water, and hydroponic farming. And there's a whole industries that are yet to be developed in those fields.
Yeah, it's sustainability. Have your students study what Denmark is doing right now. Denmark they grow all their fruits and vegetables indoors. It's cold in Denmark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, guys. Yeah. And then there's cash crops to be grown with hydroponics. And there's millionaires being made all the time by growing hydroponically. But don't just concentrate on the cash crop, because we all have to eat. Concentrate on just the technology in general, because that's where we're going. Because the climate, it's like I'm sitting here right now and there's a giant grizzly bear standing behind me, and it's called climate change. And I keep taking steps this way, but he's running faster.
Right, right.
So we're all gonna have to get together to beat this monster, and we can do it.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Again, before we wrap up, can you let people know how to find the foundation and the best way they can either communicate if they'd like to help or reach out or partner with you? And then any final words?
Yeah, if y'all would like to do a community garden there and use this technology, especially in New York in the summertime, it work absolutely well. Just get with my contracting officer, my AWG contracting. If you need to if you want to donate so some people down south can have a machine, just go to the Moses West Foundation. There's a donate button right there. Donate to that. And when I get a chance, I won't fly out there, but I will definitely drive out to where you're at. And yeah, I'd like to come and visit your classes. And then the economic development and what they're going to do in the future is you're going to have, imagine your students, they can make a restaurant now. And that restaurant, back door behind it, grows all the fruits and vegetables that that restaurant serves that day. They got rid of the truck. They got rid of everything. They're growing it fresh, organic right there. You're not going to run out of food in New York City. Every restaurant's going to be growing its own food back there in a container that I build for you that produces enough water during the summertime to feed that thing all throughout the year and give everybody in the restaurant a clean glass of water whenever they need it.
Wow.
That's the future. That's where their money's at.
Word. All right, I appreciate it. I'm glad we finally got on here. Sorry, I had COVID. Things are going crazy, but I'm glad you persevered. You kept in touch, and it was wonderful. I mean, I'd love to bring you on to just talk about some of the other stuff. I assume at some point you jumped out of a plane with a parachute. I would never do it. I would love to pick your brain.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I swam with whales. Yeah, I've done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've lived in swamp. I've climbed mountains.
Yeah, you lived quite a life. So I would love to keep in touch, sir.
Oh, my pleasure. I'd like to as well.
All right.
And definitely like to work with your students.
For sure. And my partner, I think, would love to hear that excitement in your voice. Because when we bring in folks, we like to bring in people who are passionate and who care. And that's very well exhibited.
Yeah, I've been doing this I tell you what, if you don't like what you're doing, don't do it. I've been at this for 8 years now, and you know, and you wouldn't believe how many people call me every day. Hey man, I need 10 machines. I said, I'll get them to you as soon as I can. Good. I'm working as hard as I can right now.
Good, beautiful. All right, well, you enjoy the day. This has been Just for My People, Black Land Ownership, and again, our special guest for the day,
Moses West.
There we go. I like to let people introduce themselves. I don't ever want to mess up the name. I don't ever want to misgender, mispronoun. Self-identity is important to me. And again, my name is Chris Carr. This has been Black Land Ownership, Just for My People. Enjoy, Moses.
Peace.
Peace.